What's going on, guys, and welcome to another subreddit series. Now, in this series, what I like to do is go into the subreddits and look for particular questions that have been upvoted, essentially to help you address questions that you guys may have or may arise, and to hopefully provide you guys some help and some guidance and some tools and techniques that can help you get through particular questions like the questions I'm going to be sharing today. And the question I have for you guys is, how do I not feel tortured while working? I don't know how to put this, but my job is fine, my pay is fine, but my mind resists hard when I need to work. Always looking for distractions, feeling easily irritated and angry when working. How do I overcome this? Did anyone else experience this before? Thanks for the answers. Now, this particular question is a great question because this is why I talk about unplugging a lot. A lot of different times, if you find that you are on any kind of social media platform, it is essentially created in a way that is going to help you stay on the platform. So that essentially that the whole fact that, you know, a goldfish is essentially attention span is 7 seconds long, and a human's attention span is even shorter than that. And being said, things like TikTok, Facebook, they generate videos that are very short, very entertaining, and for a purpose, to keep you on, to keep you scrolling, to give you a very vast majority of different experiences, or whether that's comedy, whether that's learning something. You all got that at your fingertips and have the power to change that. And again, there is a multitude of different outlets and videos to address that. Now, that being said, you know, when you're at work and you feel like you're distracted and stuff, is because you need to detox. And by detox, I mean you need to remove social platforms. You need to essentially depend on yourself. And this is something I talk about when I talk about unplugging, because a lot of times we don't realize, and it's actually funny, I had a conversation with this with my sister recently, and what is important about this is that you need to separate Facebook or TikTok or any other social platforms. You need to distance yourself from them, because you tend to realize, if you actually did an audit on yourself, how much time you're actually spending on these platforms. Now, I use these platforms to get my message out. So I go to YouTube and Facebook and all those ultimately, but what I try to do is I try to limit myself, upload something on there that I need to for my business, and then get off. I don't like staying on there. I don't want to be on there longer than I should. And I find that sometimes I'll upload something, or I'll be researching something, and I'll get distracted, and sometimes I'll watch a funny video, and then it leads to me watching other funny videos, and the next thing you know, it's 20 minutes later. So you have to realize that these platforms are looking for your attention. They're trying to keep you on the platform, and to understand that when you're trying to go to work and trying to focus on something, you can't, because your brain is wired in a way, it's looking for that dopamine hit. If it's not getting it, you have to realize that you're in a state in which it's being fed that dopamine off these social platforms. And so the best thing I would suggest is to remove social platforms, or schedule a time in your day in which you actually spend maybe 30 minutes on all social platforms, not just one. 30 minutes on all social platforms. Go on there, turn off all notifications, right? Because that is one thing that you're essentially, there's actually an experiment done by this, essentially by training, I believe it was dogs, right, on feeding them, right? Training them with a bell, and every time you rang that bell, the dogs were there, and they were drooling, they were salivating, because essentially they were wired to understand that when that bell rang, there was food coming. And essentially, this is the same thing that is happening to you. When, you know, that notification comes on, it's essentially you're in tune to that, and that's why we look for it, and you get that dopamine hit that something new and exciting is about ready to happen. And so you need to unwire that essentially from your everyday life. And by turning off notifications, by limiting yourself, your window to social media, you can do this too, and it helps. And this is why I talk about, and this allows you to be able to focus deeply on something that you're working on, aka work or whatever the case is, but ultimately understand that you have to unplug yourself and distance yourself from social media, because it can be a real issue. And you wonder where your day goes, you wonder why you don't have time for things, is because of the fact that or can't focus at work, is because you're looking for that change, and you're going to have to go through a detox moment. Now, some people I know have done like a full day of detox where they have essentially locked themselves in a hotel room, didn't have any social media, didn't have any essential outlet to the outside world. They drank water and they just sat in an empty room all day, trying to detox from the social platforms. And I think it's extremely important. This is why I talk about doing mindfulness and sitting in silence, because a lot of times when I first started trying to get into mindfulness and sit in silence, I couldn't do it because my brain was trained in a way that I had to have something changing in the first like 7 seconds, right? Because the social media and all that essentially programmed my brain to look for that new dopamine hit every couple seconds, right? And if I wasn't getting it, I couldn't focus, because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for that dopamine hit. And so you got to weigh yourself off of these things and realize what they are actually doing. They're taking away time, valuable time that you cannot get back. And realize if that's something you want, that is totally your choice. But going over this video, I can believe that that's not exactly what you want. What you want to do is a way to fix it, be able to focus at work. And to understand, the older you get too, focus is going to be harder. And realize that when you are trying to deeply focus, there's a lot of different things that come into play, right? You got to get in a flow state. You got to be able to essentially have a routine that builds up to that flow state. You got to eliminate distractions. You got to put your phone away. Don't have your phone on the table right next to you. Don't have your phone anywhere within sight or within reach. Put it away. Put it in your bag, or put it somewhere where it is not seen. Notifications off. Again, limit yourself every day, even if you aren't working. Have a routine in which you check it, say from 6 p.m. to 6 or 6:30 p.m. and then that is the only window in which you are looking at social media. And then by doing this, yes, you'll detox and it'll be miserable for a couple days, but you have to realize that after you get off this detox, you feel much better. You're much more focused. It comes into a lot of other things too when you're talking about focus, right? Like, how is your diet? Are you eating healthy? This is a big thing that comes into focus. And how is your sleep? Are you sleeping enough during the night, right? That can be anywhere from 5 to 8 hours. Do you need 8 hours? Yes, the more sleep you get, the better, because it helps you essentially retain any information that you are trying to learn, the longer and the deeper sleep that you do get. So that is important. And your diet, again, is also something that's extremely important, because your gut bio does affect your brain, and understanding where your focus is and how to maintain that focus, right? And again, something like mindfulness or deep breathing help you pull you into the now, so that way you can focus better and more deeply. So there's a lot of different tools here. There's a lot of different things to understand that are actually going on here, and they all play in together. But again, biggest thing is to remove all these other aspects of social media out of your life and realize what it's actually doing, because that is essentially the biggest problem there. Address that, and then you can address the other things like your diet, your sleep, and some form of being present, whether that is meditation or through breathing techniques to help pull you into the now, and not be thinking about future events or thinking of events in the past, and realize that this is what's ultimately going to help you make progress in your work, whether that if you're working a 9-to-5 job, or if you're an entrepreneur, or just a working mom, whatever the case is. This is what's ultimately going to help you focus. So if this has helped you, remember to hit the like button on the way out. Also subscribe if you haven't done so already. Until next time, I will see you guys later.